What's happening, folks out there? Broadcasting live to you and yours. It is your boy, Justin Reed, aka Too Tall for You Fool, and welcome to another episode of the Game & Watch podcast. This is episode number 74. Big 74. Only 26 more before episode 100, and then we got to do something special for that one. I am joined once again by Alfredo from the Dukes of Gaming podcast. The Duke of Education is back with us again.
Hey, nice to be back. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. Happy New Year, my man.
Yeah,
and then another educator, Matt the Educator.
Which I think prevails over all. I am the educator.
We got to compare our degrees, but we'll get there.
So I've got a couple of hours to do it.
Right.
Well, I mean, he does have a teaching education podcast, so the Teaching Culture Cast. Check that out, y'all.
Doesn't count. And
then, of course, my main man, the F-Man, Argue Gaming OVG himself, Bonus Dabs.
Yo, people. Yeah, I'm gonna try to teach some people some things too. But
Really?
yeah, I don't know.
Hey,
Yeah, why not?
What do you think you're doing?
Pick another podcast, dude.
Right.
Yeah, he's good. He could probably teach you us a thing or two about producing a podcast. So I mean, he's learned a lot. You know?
Oh, I don't know about that. These guys,
Well, at least
have
some
that a
graphics.
lot. Yeah.
Well,
We'll start with the basics. Setting
Yeah.
up a mic.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Just a reminder that the Game & Watch podcast is a RV Gaming or OVG production. For your viewing pleasure, we stream on Facebook Live, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. For your listening pleasure, we are available on all platforms wherever you listen to your podcast. So if you're listening on the controversial Spotify right now for reasons I'm not going to get into, you can find us there. Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, wherever you want to listen to us, we are there. And we also have a Patreon. Donate if you donate to us. All the donations will make the podcast better for all, whether it be us, the host, or you, the listener, or viewer. So, with all that out of the way, and just another thing: if you are watching on one of my personal channels, thank you. I connected to restream my personal channel, so we're streaming more than ever before. So, hooking it up there. All right, with all that out of the way, just a little bit of icebreaker. How y'all doing? How's your week been?
That's an icebreaker.
Yeah. I mean, whatever you want to talk about, break the ice.
If we're talking about true education here, surely an icebreaker is something like, "Who stole the cookie from the cookie jar?" You stole the cookie from the cookie jar.
That's education, but I think we're a little bit, Pat. I think.
Yeah, we're higher. We're at higher.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I think all of you have collectively said in not so many words why everybody hates those. So.
All right, but I mean,
it's been a big gaming week.
Yeah, it really was. There was a few things I kind of wanted to put in the show notes for today's show, but I just knew I didn't want to turn this into a 3-hour, 4-hour podcast. I think my wife would go crazy if I was in my man cave that long talking video games with y'all, which I could do, but she just wouldn't be having it,
Can't have her being unhappy. So let's just start with one that's a little bit off tangent that came up very early during the week. I think it was late last weekend, actually, that The Rock had tweeted that he is going to be participating in a game franchise film that has been around for a long time, or he indicated he had been playing it since his youth, but he was very general, wasn't very specific about what he was actually doing. What are your predictions for what he will be playing?
Jumanji
You
3.
said Spider-Man. Is that what you said?
That's a Mega Man.
Oh,
okay.
That's a good picture.
That's the right kind of man. I can't imagine Spider-Man being like
maybe Spider-Man, alternate universe Spider-Man. No, I think personally he would probably fit the most easily in either the Crackdown universe, but you have Terry Crews there, so he might not want to step on his toes.
I don't think he could Crackdown.
My other choice would easily be Gears of War.
He's got the build. All the big heads. The big heads.
He's got the head. He's got the
muscles. Action movies, so
I would say they cast him in the Super Mario Brothers movie, since they already have like Seth Rogen and all those other people in there. I think like we don't need to see The Rock's face anymore, but like I can very much see him as like an enemy, some type of Koopa, like the Koopa with the sunglasses.
Roy,
have they casted Bowser yet?
I'm not sure.
I'm not entirely. I remember they saying. I don't remember them saying who.
He could be a Bowser, probably. Yeah, he could do it. I can see it.
They have a lot of like A-list actors in that movie, so
yeah.
I'm still mad about the whole Mario and Kiss Pat. I don't think I'll ever get over it. I'll still watch it.
At least it's gonna be an animated movie, like.
They can't mess it up that badly like they did back in '93. That's what I keep saying. But
you know what? When I was a kid, though, I enjoyed that movie. Like, regardless of what people said about it, like for all the years afterwards, it was the only Mario movie that I had. So I was down for it. Like I was 100. I was just 100 in. Like, and I still watch that movie today. And it's junk, but
I'd rather watch the cartoon shows. I'd rather watch the cartoon shows. I think they're still on Netflix. Super Mario
cartoon shows?
You didn't know that? Yeah, the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
How old are you, Alfredo?
I did not know. How old am I?
Yeah, you didn't know that.
How old do you think I am? That's the question.
I think you're 24.
24. Any other guesses?
25, maybe.
25? Any more?
I'm touching it, dude. No.
I am 27.
Okay, that explains why.
Okay, it explains why you're a baby, and you're a big Zelda fan. They also had a Zelda cartoon also back in the late '80s, early '90s.
Did they?
Yeah.
As a disclaimer, I feel like I have to say this every time because I do have a Zelda shield right there and a hat. I'm not the biggest Zelda fan. I just like the hat a lot, and I like the symbols. I like the shield. Zelda games typically are not my jam. But that's a talk for another show.
I mean, the Triforce is a good symbol.
Exactly. Yeah, Triforce is nice.
Yeah. Look at this hat. It's amazing. It's awesome.
That's pretty sick.
Well, I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I didn't give a Link to the Past a try until last year, and it's one of my favorite Super Nintendo games ever. It's
I am playing finally Ocarina of Time all the way through. I played a little bit of it, like maybe an hour or two beforehand, but I never finished it. And now this year I'm committing. I started it. Yeah, so we'll see how I feel about it. So far, so good though.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm liking the icebreaker talk.
Did a quick fact check. Jack Black will be playing Bowser in the upcoming film.
That's right. I do remember that now. Okay.
So it's going to be a great time. Also,
I'm happy about that actually.
Yeah, it's not bad. Look, say what you will about the new Mario movie, the casting, it's going to be a good time.
It's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy it. I hope.
Yeah. It'll probably be better than Sonic, honestly. They got off all
Sonic was pretty good. I mean,
Sonic was good. I enjoyed it.
Sonic, I feel like those are going to be two different movies. Like Sonic is like they're bringing like a 3D anamorphic
into the real world,
and then Mario, I don't think they're coming to the real world at all. I think they're just going to stay.
Yeah, but in terms of like Nintendo's not gonna let Sonic upstage Mario like with their movie coming out in 2020s now. Like they're not gonna. We're gonna be like, we gotta do better than them. So they're gonna try to one up them.
Well, unless Nintendo buys Sega, then that's a whole different ball game. No, I'm just kidding. But
true, anything's possible now.
It felt like a segue barreling through our movie and watch podcast.
Movie and watch. Where's Synthwave? You know, he's a big movie guy, right? All right.
Hanging out in the chat, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, let's get into these topics. The gaming news call-outs. I put quite a bit on them there, but we'll get into the first one. And Sony had a state of play. I believe it was Wednesday. I forget what day it was, but they just played Gran Turismo 7. And based on what I'm seeing, this game looks beautiful. I mean, I love racing games, and I already said that about Forza Horizon 5, and I really wish Mark was here right now so we could talk more about this, so I can get his take on it. But this is just a really good game, and just a lot of real simulation factors in, music. It just really blew me away in terms of just like what I saw, and I think this is the first new game that I'm going to pick up this year. So screw February, I'm going straight to March. Yeah, I mean, I think I am going to pick this one up. I think I got to pick this one up. It's making me want to dig into my drawer and play the other Gran Turismo that I got right now. I'll probably play it later this week. But
Gran Turismo 1, right? The classic.
It's probably Sport, which isn't a real Gran Turismo. Yeah,
it's Sport, but
it's a knockoff Gran Turismo.
It's a knockoff one, but it's still making me want to go out back and play it. But what do you guys' thoughts on the upcoming Gran Turismo game?
I didn't know it was coming so soon, March 4th.
Yeah,
just these next few months are getting more packed and more packed already, and it looks amazing. I mean, racing fans are having so many things to look forward to because they just got Forza Horizon, which is an amazing racing game in and of itself. I'm not a racing guy, and that game made me want to jump into it, and I'm having a lot of fun with it still even now. And now they're about to get Gran Turismo, so it's been a good couple months for racing.
It's a little bit different, Gran Turismo, isn't it? Do you reckon the Forza 5 people will be like, Forza Horizon 5 still hasn't had its due yet? It needs more fanfare. It needs a whole year.
Horizon's more like the arcadey simulation type, and then this is like very classic simulation. This is like the original Forza, in terms of like racing, making sure you're getting those angles and stuff like that. But I'm a little bit worried about this game. I don't know if you guys have been following up on it, but they're doing like a couple of new modes, and this is very much going to be a platform. So Gran Turismo is infamous for its delays, in every I'm pretty sure every Gran Turismo like that's ever come out has had some type of significant delay before it's released. But they talked about like having a music mode or a cafe mode.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And it's like they're like, oh well, this is going to be a mode where you can drive and just listen to music, which is great. I mean, I love just driving and listening to music, and it's really not there for that like that racing aspect, and it's trying to touch like different people. And then just it being a platform and them not being able to like regularly keep their dates, and this being like they basically, I mean, besides Sport, I guess Sport was a remake of the Gran Turismo 6. It was like a branch off like expansion almost. And then them coming to Gran Turismo 7, I'm just a little bit worried because it basically was almost a whole generation. If like, I don't know how you take in Sport, but even with Sport, almost a full console generation went by. So I'm like, are they really going to be able to support this game? Because they very much said like, this is just the beginning of Gran Turismo and what we release in modes and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Sounds like it's going to be a 10-year game to me.
Yeah, like a live service game, which makes sense given the direction they're trying to go in the future.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I just really want to see the cars list. I'm really liking, the history, behind like the museum and everything like that. Learning about the history of cars. I just hope some of my favorite cars are in the game, and then just get them, cruise around in them, cruise the world, race.
400 cars at launch. What's your favorite car? I think there's a pretty good chance it's going to be in there.
You know me, I like that old Ford Mustang Fox body, you know, for like the late 70s for like the early 90s.
That's gonna be it. That's in there day one, buddy. So
See, the thing that is still a question though is whether it's going to simulate damage to the cars or not.
I'm
Which
pretty
I don't
sure
think
it will.
historically it has it?
I believe in Gran Turismo 6, they did have some body damage. It wasn't extensive. It wasn't anything like super significant, like where you total the car and then it doesn't drive anymore. But I'm pretty sure in 6 they did like show like scrapes and scratches and things of that nature. But yeah, historically, this game does not have. They like the manufacturers did not allow or want damage to be shown on their cars.
That
It's
makes
not
sense.
Burnout Takedown or anything.
Yeah, it's not. Talk about racing game. That's a good racing game right there.
Takedown.
Well, I am of a street racing ilk. The
Yeah.
last game that I played significantly was Need for Speed. Oh god, what is it? Need for Speed
Underground?
Most Wanted.
Most
Most
wanted.
Wanted.
The first
The
one, right?
2005. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
both
the
of them
most
were good.
recent one.
Both of them were good in my opinion, but yeah, the 2005 one was real good. You know, I mean, I could talk racing games all day. I love Burnout. You know, Need for Speed. You know, definitely, and you know, definitely Forza's. You know, definitely grown on me too these last few years, and
Same.
if you want to go even further, Mario Kart. I mean, I like that too. You know, I like what that offers, and I mean, it may not be.
Game there.
Well,
Like,
talking about even further back, do you guys remember the original Hot Wheels game on
yeah.
PS1? Such
The
a good
original,
game.
no, not on
No,
PS1.
It was so good. I'm actually excited to eventually get the updated one that came out last year, I believe.
Oh yeah,
I
Hot
heard it
Wheels.
was good.
Hot Wheels Unleashed. Yeah, I got that one. That's a very good game.
I got it
Okay.
too, but I still haven't unwrapped it.
Oh no.
No, man. Come
So
on, man.
sad.
You're missing out. Actually, I do want to.
Yeah, give it to me. Mail it to me. I'll play it.
I already have
actually
to
do.
mail games.
Yeah.
I still haven't done.
Yeah, but but yeah, with Hot Wheels, it's like kind of weird because it's like all the seasons. So I need to jump back in there and just update. But I kind of don't feel like paying for all that right now. I mean, unless it's like on the super cheap. But I mean, they're putting a lot into these racing games. You know, pretty much like you said, service. You know,
Yeah.
and I think that's going to be the future. So I think the future is already among us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right.
No pun intended.
Sounds sus.
Anyone plan on getting Gran Turismo? Maybe not day one, but sometime this year, later on.
Maybe
No.
down the line. I'm just worried that like Gran Turismo hasn't been around very much, and like even the last game wasn't received super sport wasn't like received like critically well because it was just such a incremental improvement upon the last one. I'm really worried about this. I don't think it's gonna sell bangers. I'll be surprised if it sold 3 million units. But I mean, there might be those hardcore Gran Turismo fans that have just been like waiting down under, like under the caves, like underground somewhere, and just now they're ready to rise because this game has finally come out and they've just been waiting for it forever. But I think people have moved on, and I think Forza is really taking that spot. And yeah, I don't really know who's asking for this anymore.
Especially with Game Pass. Instead of paying the whole $60, you can pay for Game Pass and try it out.
Spartacus is coming. Spartacus is coming.
It's
Well,
got
so
a
they
month
say.
till Gran Turismo comes out. That's all you get.
It would be
like
funny.
they might be
It
rushing
would be
it.
funny if they launched it the day Gran Turismo did come out. Their live service that they plan on doing. All right. Well, moving on. Let's talk a little bit of sports. And it was funny that I brought up MLB The Show last week, but the cover athlete has been revealed for the next MLB The Show, and it is going to be what is the guy's name? Shohei Ohtani of the LA Angels. I hope I know I butchered his name, but but yes, he is going to be on the cover. But I think the bigger news here is last year we saw the show go to the Xbox, and now this year it is coming to the Switch. So this is big because one, it means there's more than one baseball game on any of these consoles now. No more having to resort to RBI baseball for those just Nintendo or even Xbox guys out there for that matter. And quite frankly, RBI baseball really sucks. But but yeah, just this is real big, and I think with this cover athlete on for the game, I think this is going to push a lot of units for the Switch. Now, I think the bigger question is, do you really want to buy it on the Switch? Should they just put it in the cloud like some other games we know, or should you just take the chance and if it sucks, we'll just hear about it later? What are your thoughts?
Baseball.
Yeah. Honestly, you don't want to buy this game on the Switch. I mean, just realistically speaking.
Well, look how tiny the ball is on a regular TV screen. Like, they got to zoom that camera to be able to see it. Can you imagine doing it on the Switch's display? You'd never be able to see it. You'd be like sitting there waiting just to hear if you got a homer or not.
Yeah, if this game was optimized for the Switch, then maybe. But the fact that like it's a PlayStation game, that they also brought to Game Pass, and then they're also bringing to the Switch, it's a port, and they're really not gonna take advantage of what the Switch is capable of doing in any sort of way. This is just getting it to a broader fan base, which, in my opinion, bringing it to the Switch and having those people play it, in probably what is not going to be the greatest way to play it, is probably going to do the franchise more harm than good.
The way I feel about it is very, very similar to when Overwatch was finally announced for coming to the Switch. So they had it basically they did not just do a straight port. They had it take advantage of the Nintendo Switch's gyroscope. So like, for example, for one of the characters, you can control their ultimate by tilting your Switch every way back and forth, however you want. But exactly like you guys are saying, it's not going to be the ideal way to play or the ideal way for that competitive people or people who aren't just casual gamers want to play. At the end of the day, I do think it is a good idea to have, games on every possible console imaginable, just so that people have more availability, more access to the game. But it'll really shine for the casual players and the people who actually love MLB. They're probably not going to go to the Switch for this. It might be nice for them to like take it on vacation if they want to play it casually, but other than that, they're going to be going to either PC or straight consoles where they can get the most out of their buck.
If they haven't touched it already, right? Because it's been out for a little while already. Mm-hmm. And we'll get to more of this later on in the show, but the Nintendo Switch is, at least in my mind, you guys might feel different, but it's feeling more like a marketing tool at the moment, more so than it is an actual platform. Like if they're investigating cloud gaming, much more so than they would be trying to optimize the platform units that are out there. And sorry, spoilers, teasers, whatever it is for news. I'm sure you've read it. You've read it, guys. They're saying that it's mid-life cycle at the moment, that there's still quite a little bit of runway left for it, that maybe this is one of their ways that they playfully try and bring the market back into the Switch again, just to make sure that there's money rolling in, to show that there's growth still. Like, how many baseball fans would have been captured by the Switch already?
Mm-hmm.
I heard you guys say one game.
RBI baseball, that's the only game that's been on the Switch for years now. And quite frankly, I mean, my recommendation, if you're a Switch owner and you really want to play this game, find another way to play this game, or just stick with RBI baseball. At least RBI baseball doesn't have
that many problems. They don't have to find another way. There's so many other ways available to play this game. Yeah. But I think actually, like, is anyone here baseball fans?
Me.
Okay.
No.
So
if you want to like throw some barbs at this sport about how terrible it is, go for it. I'm not going to be.
No.
We won't defend it.
No, just the bigger story here isn't the fact that like it's coming to Switch. I think the bigger story is actually Shuhei Ohtani being on the cover. He's a Japanese American, and there hasn't been any other Japanese or anyone of Asian descent on these MLB covers. Ever. So the fact that like he's on this like is big. It's big for Japanese people, especially like everything that's been going on, just in our country with, in the States, with people just being the way they are, prejudice, racist
Asian hate,
towards them. Yeah, all the Asian hate and everything. The fact that he's on this cover is big, and just kudos to him. And I think this is great. He's a phenomenal baseball player. My wife is a fan of the Angels, very much so.
Yes, she is.
By proxy, I am a fan of the Angels, and I was so excited to see this cover and just to see this all together. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I might buy this just for support.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I may check it out too. Definitely not day one for me, but all these sports games, they go on sale like toward the end of the season, So if I see it for like $20 or so, I mean, I may pick it up. I'd have to, check out a few more of the modes that they have, and baseball holds a special place in my heart. It's the first sport I ever played. This guy that I do a podcast with weekly, we were on baseball teams together growing up.
I think I've heard of that podcast. It's quite popular, isn't it?
So I mean, definitely. I think it's great for baseball, and it's just a great step in the right direction. So I think, regardless of what platform anyone has, I think a lot of Japanese, Japan, people of Asian descent are going to be, picking up this game. So
yeah, well, baseball's big over there too. Like
it's super big. Yeah,
big worldwide.
Lest we start to drift over the line of potentially inappropriate, there's an anime that I enjoyed in my youth called
Ace Diamonds.
No.
Ace of Diamonds? No? Oh, it's a baseball anime.
Damn, baseball animes? I didn't know that.
It was actually... I can imagine those power-ups being massive. And like, can you imagine 9 innings of an anime game? It would take like 6 seasons.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, the anime I'm talking about is Samurai Champloo.
Oh, I know that one too.
Yeah. There's actually an episode dedicated to baseball and how it arrived in Japan during the Edo period. And there's some hilarity around the episode as well. But that's what, when you put those two concepts together, that's what jogs my memory. Very good anime. I would suggest anyone pick it up.
So good in that anime. The animation's great too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And any Cowboy Bebop fans, the guy who voiced Spike in the English version is the guy who voices Mugen.
Oh, cool.
As the lead in that too. There's a lot of voice actors.
Spike, transferred it over.
Quite literally. You could put them side by side. They look almost exactly the same. Anyway.
All right. Well, definitely. Well, congratulations to him, Angel fans, baseball fans. I mean, the game, I forget when the game comes out, but it is coming out. Usually it comes out like in late March. Someone wants to fact check that for me. I don't got my release date tab opened up. April 5th. Okay, April 5th is when it comes. Yeah, I knew like around late March or early April is when it comes out. All right, so Sony has announced games for PlayStation Now. We'll go through the list of these games real quick. The Grand Theft Auto Vice City Definitive Edition will be available to subscribers until May. Also, we'll do Death Squared, Little Big Workshop, and Through the Darkest Times will be playable from now, I guess when you're listening to this, but they've been playable since February 1st. Any of these games that any guys, is there any reason why anyone should pick up the service just for these games, or should you just wait for the PlayStation Now, PlayStation Plus, Spartacus merger that they keep talking about?
I think if you're hanging out for Spartacus, you might be waiting to either be disappointed or not. I don't know. Waiting for a live service from a platform that hasn't indicated what it's going to be is going to be a disappointment.
Yeah. And from what I've heard from people who have tried PlayStation Now, I haven't myself, but from what I've heard, it's a really good service. People love it. From what I hear, the latency isn't that bad at all. I can definitely see it being, if you guys have tried Xbox cloud gaming, very along those lines, where it's pretty seamless in terms of latency, and you don't need a lot of console space. So if you're worried about any of that, you don't need to be. So yeah, I would say hop on it now if you're looking to hop into any of these games without having, all of the trouble of downloading and taking up space and all of that. And just like Matt said, yeah, you never know when Spartacus is going to happen. So why not just hop in now and try it out, see if you like it.
But you've got you've been taking the cloud gaming on Xbox for a bit of a spin, haven't you?
Sure have, yeah. So I assume it's pretty much the same because I use Xbox Cloud Gaming on my phone. I've used it on my iPad. iPad is not that great, but it might be because it's pretty old. But on my phone, it works perfectly. I play Streets of Rage 4 on there all the time. It's like
what
one
kind
of
of phone
my
do you have?
go-to. Yeah.
What kind of phone do you have?
I have a Samsung Galaxy.
So it does good with Android phones. I know that. What about like is it good with Apple phones, Game Pass?
The only Apple I have is my iPad, which is not that great with, but I
Mhm.
have an older iPad, so I'll try it on one of my friends' phones, and I'll get back to you on there.
All right, all right. I'm just a little curious.
I heard it's pretty good on the iPhone, on the newer ones at least. I just haven't tested it myself.
All right. So speaking of Game Pass, we'll stick with that. And looks like I know we talked a little bit last week about some of the games coming for the month of February, but it looks like they released a full-on list. I'll go through this list right now. Some of these games are already available. Contrast for cloud and console, Dreamscaper, cloud console and PC, Telling Lies, cloud console and PC. Besiege, I know we talked about that last week. That's going to be coming to cloud console and PC February 10th. Crossfire X coming to console February 10th. Edge of Eternity, cloud console and PC February 10th. Skull, the Hero Slayer, cloud console and PC February 10th. Seems like a lot of these games are coming February 10th. The Last Kids on Earth and the Staff of Doom, cloud console and PC February 10th. Ark Ultimate Survivor Edition, cloud console and PC February 14th. And Infernax, cloud console and PC February 14th. And then they're going to be, so these are the games coming. And then a couple of DLC updates as well. Grounded Into the Wood update. Another update for Microsoft Flight Simulator World update. And then the Perks Smite Season 9, World of Warships exclusive starter pack, Phantasy Star Online 2 are going to be the ultimate perks. So before we get into the games that are leaving, anything here that any of our listeners or viewers should be looking out for?
I think our listeners should be looking out for that exploitative opportunity with Microsoft trying to ride the wave of good faith, having purchased a studio that is notoriously part of a shitstorm.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're just trying to peak. They're just like, hey, we got tons of good games. Come to Game Pass, guys. It's so good. 18 months. Get ready. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I think right now it's translation for you haven't heard of any of these games, but just play them until, the service gets a lot better.
Oh, no. I think there's going to be a lot of gems here because I know that Skull, whatever it would be, that's a platformer I've heard of. Have you played it, Alfredo?
No, but I was shocked when you said that because I remember that being featured during, I believe it was either Xbox's E3. So it was a while ago, their last E3 last June. It was featured in like their indie kind of showcase. And the game looked really good. It's actually been available on PC for a while. And I didn't want to spend no money on it. But since it's coming to Xbox, I do think it's going to be one of those hidden gems, kind of like Nobody Saves the World, where that game came out and a lot of people loved it. I also heard that you said Telling Lies was coming out on Xbox Game Pass, and that's a game that is critically acclaimed by so many different reviewers. So, and everyone who played it, who I've known, said that they love it as well. It's one of those games that is very it's like video footage type of game where you're like investigating someone's PC. It's kind of like that. And I heard it's very good. So I'm excited to finally play that because apparently it is very good.
I've heard good things about that too. And I have to say that Contrast as a game, while it is quite old, because I remember, I think it was back in 2013 or 2014 when I played it last. It's a really good platformer. The way that they play with the mechanics of playing
is that the
in
Shadow
shadows.
game?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, no, it's so good. Like entirely underrated. I'm really glad they brought it back to the fore because it was overlooked at the time, I think.
Yeah, you said 2013?
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing it all the way back then when it was featured, and I was like, that looks like a cool game. Never heard much about it, so I might need to play that.
Yep. Well, there's a review that I put on Facebook because at the time, the only reason I remember it so well is because I was living in England at the time, doing some work, with my now wife, doing school stuff because of visas, and that could be a story for another podcast. But I know I was trying to reconnect with the internet and get, connected with a broader range of people because we didn't know as many people over there. So if somehow Facebook hasn't destroyed that record somewhere, you might see a little review from Matthew Bliss in 2013 about how good Contrast is.
Digging everyone.
I'm surprised you didn't mention Flight Simulator with Australia being now available.
Yeah. Are you gonna get that right? I'm sure Mark
Are
really
you
wants
not a
you
Flight
to.
Simulator fan? Flight
I
Simulator.
know that Australia has been available, or portions of it have
Yeah,
been available.
portions of it. That's kind of like
portions.
what they do with just kind of like the entire world. Like there's portions available, but then they keep on adding more and more.
So here's a spoiler alert.
Spoiler
and
alert.
why they probably left it till towards the middle of its life cycle. A lot of our country is desert. So
Really?
if you're flying between
that.
Melbourne and Perth, it's going to be a lot of brown, dude. Like, unless they've done a lot of work, and I'm absolutely not shitting on, Flight Simulator and what it does. They do amazing things, and I'm sure you'd be able to pick out landmarks from like kilometers away because of the detail they go through with it. But yeah, not a lot of settled areas in Australia. So, I'd be curious to see what kind of detail they go into, or if we have another mysterious Melbourne monolith like when it was first released. That massive black building right in the middle of Fitzroy.
I love actually the glitches really make that game. I love when there's like actual issues with the game. I remember when I was flying over London last time, and it was one of the canals, but I got as low as I can like go to the canal, and then it was just warped. So it tilted inward like this, and then like I had to like fly like this, almost like I was flying like in Star Wars when they like enter the trench in the Death Star. That's what this canal felt like. It felt like the ocean was parted, and then like it was gonna collapse in on me.
There's
And
gotta be a Star Wars mod for that game, though.
that would be sick.
There's gotta be. I'd be shocked if there wasn't.
Because who doesn't want a realistic Star Wars flight simulator, right?
Yeah, right. All right, and then so talked about the games that are on there. So I guess leaving the service February 15th. Oh no. The following games: Control, Code Vein, Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age, The Medium, Project Winter, and The Falconeer. Besides Control, any of these other games that Game Pass people subscribers should play before they leave?
Those are some big ones, honestly.
Yeah.
Every one you listed, I was like, ooh. They need to play them all.
Final Fantasy Zodiac Age, is definitely like if you're gonna play a Final Fantasy 12, that's the one you play for sure.
I like how you said that because there's really only one Final Fantasy 12, right? But the Game Pass version is cheap. Is that right?
Yeah.
Have I got that wrong?
Or
is the Zodiac Age like a extra?
It's like the final mix of Final Fantasy. Yeah,
that's
what I thought.
So there's some added improvements in there.
Yeah, good. I didn't have a good time with it when I bought it when it came out. But anyway, listen to previous episodes of the podcast if you'd like to hear about me shit on 12. But The Medium, I'm surprised is leaving because that was one of the first titles to be released day and date on Game Pass. And obviously it wasn't like it's a Bloober Team game. It's not like a Microsoft studio or anything, but I'm really surprised that it's leaving.
Yeah, me too. Now it's available on PlayStation right now as well. You do have to pay for it. It's not on Game Pass, but yeah, that surprised me as well when you said that. I thought it would be on Game Pass for a long time since, like you said, it's one of the first.
Yeah. Anyway, that would definitely be worth a try. For anyone playing on PC, I wouldn't bother trying unless you've got like at least a discrete graphics card, because it does do a lot of really interesting things with the graphics when you play that. but on console it would be brilliant. Definitely give that a look. And if you haven't played Control yet, play Control. It's a great game. Also, we know that more is going to be coming from Remedy in the next couple of years as well. Notwithstanding Alan Wake 2, I think.
Yep.
And they're building out the Remedyverse or whatever they're calling it. Plus, it's a lot of fun. If you enjoyed Fringe as a TV show, or if you like getting into the Dark Souls of things and reading a really weird and unusual stories about random objects in the universe, like a fridge that you have to stare at, and if you blink or close your eyes, it will eat you. Like that kind of stuff is
that
just
fridge
amazing.
is in Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Huh.
The fridge that never closes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. You guys there's a whole like
find
subreddit
out.
about this fridge in Guardians of the Galaxy. But anyway, that's for another podcast, another time. Like,
yeah, Control. Jump on it if you haven't.
Control. All right. So I guess we need to get like a delay alarm or something. Delay alert, delay alert, delay alert. Another game has been delayed. This game is Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, and this makes me really upset because this is a game I was really looking forward to playing in 2022, but it's delayed. And is anyone really like surprised that it's delayed, or
It makes sense. It makes sense. I was just waiting for it. I thought we would have to wait a lot longer to find out that it was delayed, actually. But it's nice to know earlier rather than later and saying, is this delayed? And then it does. But I kind of expected it, particularly because this game is so intrinsically tied to Gotham Knights, the other Rocksteady, well, not Rocksteady, but WB game. And basically, WB said that Gotham Knights was supposed to come out last year. It got delayed to this year. We haven't really heard anything in terms of when it's coming out. So that game kind of has to come out before Suicide Squad, I would assume, because it just seems more far along. And you want to give ample space to release those two Batman games. You don't want to release them like 1 month and then the next. So it makes sense that maybe Gotham Knights comes out around holiday-ish. It seems like that type of game, like maybe a fall-ish game, and then Suicide Squad hopefully will get early 2023.
Yeah. I mean, just to what Alfredo said, it was just, like, it was very weird that they announced both these games, and then they were like, oh yeah, these games are gonna like release, very close to each other, because like Gotham Knights got delayed, and then it's supposed to come out 2022 along with this game, and it was like, really? You're gonna release these games like when? Like you're gonna release Gotham Knights like first quarter, and then you're gonna release Suicide Squad shortly after? How is that gonna work out?
Multiplayer focus, Batman style gameplay.
Yeah, it just was really
similar.
Weird. So yeah, it made sense that it got delayed. I just can't believe how significant of a delay. Just like basically a whole year. They're just like, okay, sometime in 2023. Like nothing set in stone, but you could expect it then. Is just wow. Which I feel like we're really seeing a trend of with WB games, and of course that's partly probably because of COVID and things of that nature. But man, I just feel like they don't want to be like a Battlefield or a Cyberpunk, and they really want to ensure that they nail this this type of game.
So funny you should say that. It's funny you should say that, because Rocksteady hasn't really come back strongly onto the scene since the release of Arkham Knight, which was, I think it was okay on console, but they got a lot of backlash for how broken it was on PC.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm really surprised nobody remembers.
Yeah, it was okay. It was pretty good on console. The only thing was the driving. They it got like a lot of negative feedback for all the driving that you had to do within the game.
But they copped it. Like, people were saying things like, Rocksteady, don't give them another Batman game. They'll never do it right. They'll never do it justice. And I know that they
never heard
that. Yeah, it was so long ago now. What is it? 6 years ago, probably, whenever Arkham Knight came out. And yeah, it's that they're back and doing another game. I imagine they've looked at the progress, they've seen what's happened. They may have taken Gotham Knights into account, and they've just gone, look, let's give you a big window. We don't want the entire internet shitting on you again. We'll give you a big window. It'll be okay. You guys will get it right this time. Future WB games, you'll be right.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think I was with you, Finance, when I saw trailers for both these games, or maybe not with you, but we saw them like the same day, and I was a little weirded out too. Like right when I'm seeing these, like these games are really going to come out like not so far from each other now. Like it made more sense. So I think the trend I'm seeing is again, um, trailers maybe just a little bit too early for games like this since it's not coming out till 2023. We saw the trailer in 2021, so it's
But
roughly
it's such a
2
good time
years.
to talk about it. Like we
Yeah,
just had
yeah,
the
it is.
Suicide Squad movie,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is,
it is.
I mean, you never want to draw a direct comparison between the two because obviously you watch this after you've watched that and you go, Shark Head's not big enough, and Harley Quinn doesn't look weird enough. We've also got the
No.
Pacemaker series that came out on HBO Max,
which is doing really
quite
well.
recently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
gotta
So good.
assume that when they decided to put out these trailers, they were thinking, okay, we're gonna release these with this specific schedule, and then I assume delays happened, and that's why there's such
But they
nothing. We
just
haven't heard
released a
anything.
new trailer for this game. Like
Yeah, they
it
Yeah.
did.
just happened, and it's just
Yeah.
like
That's why I think something might have happened with Gotham Knights to maybe Gotham Knights said, okay,
Yeah.
we can't release this until this, and then Suicide Squad is over here. Like, well, I guess we have to delay it and like wait even longer, even though we might technically have it ready. Let's just give it some extra polish.
Oh well, either way, looks good. Looking forward to it.
All right, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I am too. I mean, let's see if the other game comes out. I actually do gotta play Arkham Knight. I haven't gotten around to playing that just yet. I know. I have a whole backlog of games. I have the physical version, and then with my PlayStation Plus subscription, I can just download it on there and play it anytime.
For a treat with all the DLC.
Oh yeah, when that day comes, yes, I have a whole backlog of adventure games that I'm trying to get through. So let's talk some more Switch. Like Matt was saying earlier in the show, it came out in 2017, but it is in the middle of its life cycle. And what can I say? It's already at 100 million units. It passed the PlayStation 1 and the Wii in terms of lifetime sales, so it's in the top 5 now, like we talked about last week. What I'm thinking is, if this is the middle of its life cycle, do we really think that they will just keep optimizing the Switch? Are they realistically going to make a Switch Pro before they do a Pro 2 or a Switch 2, or just make another wider screen, another variant, or just more powerful battery life? I'm just a little curious to see just what possibilities are endless with the Switch and where it will peak in terms of its lifetime sales with everything combined at the end of the day.
I think like it is literally endless, the capacity when you're streaming from the internet. It's look, mid-life cycle, this could mean any number of things. It could mean that there is another console iteration coming soon, but that the Switch is not yet done, just like the release of the PS4 Pro alongside the PS4. It could mean that they're just going to sit on it. There's a lot of announcement quotes that come out of Nintendo type announcements like this. And one of the big ones mentioned as part of this is that they're trying to avoid a 6-year market crash on any console. They're trying to ensure that this is the one that breaks that trend, breaks the curse, as it were, that they will be able to retain growth beyond 6 years with this console. And by the way it's looking, it could very much do that. But there's like a really weird paradox here where the community is demanding a higher capacity, higher performing console that has the same advantages as the current Switch. They're not getting it, but it's still pushing units. It's pushing more games. They're adding cloud service and extra services to their online platform. It seems like a really weird confluence of things altogether that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense but it's still making them a bit of money. So my big question is, are they motivated to try and push out a console life cycle to try and get as much money out of it as possible and try to slow down the console iterations for them? Or are they trying to push units just so they can prove something to their investors and try and get more people on board? It's a really weird thing to think about, I think, especially Nintendo as a company.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. And at the end of the day, Nintendo with the Switch, they are rolling in the money, and they are not going to stop this train if they don't have to. They don't have to innovate.
No.
But I do definitely see your point in that, people are clamoring for a Switch 2 or Pro, whatever it may be. And I think we're getting closer to, we're inevitably going to get that. And I think what we're going to see next is the new Switch Pro, or the new Nintendo Switch, just like we did with the 3DS eventually. We're going to see those variants like the Switch XL. We already got the Nintendo Switch Lite, so we're going to get the XL. Like, we're going to get all of these different versions because it's doing so well. So I think toward the end of the life cycle, we'll finally get the Switch Pro. Now, as to if we're going to get Switch Pro exclusive games, I'm a little iffy on that, because they have tried that with the new Nintendo 3DS, where I believe they only made 2 exclusive games for that, and then everything else came to everything. So I think they learned that exclusive Switch Pro won't really be
marketable.
Profitable for them. So they're going to try to extend it as much as possible while still making the base Nintendo Switch their bread and butter, because it's making so much money.
Yeah, I mean, exactly what Matt and Alfredo both said. They're making money off of it, and the market is spoken. Like, very much the market is demanding something higher with better resolution and better controls and so forth. But at the same time, the market is handing, they're like, oh, well, you haven't come out with it, so I'm going to buy this in the meantime, year over year, and just continuously give you my money. If it breaks, I'm going to buy a new one. If my child demands one, I'm going to buy a new one. And we have new people entering the console market every year, so the Lite is like a great option for them. So I mean, with the Switch doing well, the market, like I said, has spoken in terms that they don't want to switch like a Pro. They don't want to switch to, because you can't say here's my money and then at the same time expect like a new console to come out. Like Alfredo said, like
I think what even solidifies that idea is the fact that the game Pokemon Legends Arceus came out. Horrendous graphics. It looks terrible in Switch, but it's also the fastest selling Pokemon game in the entire franchise already.
It's selling a lot of units right now. That game is
all
doing
the
incredible.
first parties are selling hand over fist, and I mean, kudos to Switch. I mean, they're making the money, so they're not going to stop. But I think a lot of like other factors like PlayStation and Xbox, aren't really affecting Switch sales.
No, I don't think so.
So, and then I'm sure when Valve announced the Steam Deck, Nintendo's like, let's see how this does, and then we'll maybe make some alterations on this. I can guarantee you, if the Switch wasn't doing well, they would have cut their losses and jumped to a new system a long time ago, maybe a year or two ago, or we would have saw a Switch Pro.
Yeah, just like Wii U. Yeah.
But
that thing did horrible.
With strong sales, and with the way everything's going, as of right now, the projections are probably like in another 5 years we'll do another console, because even if they decline like over the next like couple of years, it's gonna still be. It would have to be one heck of a drastic decline for them to like jump ship and create or put out a new console.
Yeah, I mean,
for the consumer, it's still. Sorry, Tusol.
No, you can go.
Oh, I was just going to reiterate the point that I think I made 1 or 2 weeks ago. The idea of the Nintendo Stockholm syndrome, where you've got these exclusive games that are only available on this platform, but you want them on better platforms, but they're not going anywhere else. So if you want to, like me, play your Breaths of the Wilds, if you want to play your Mario Karts, if you want to play your Pokemons, then you kind of have to jump on this train because they're really bad at the backwards compatibility. They're bad at moving things forward onto the new consoles. They don't really iterate on their content that's already been developed. So you're either getting the Switch or you're not playing them. And I think I call it Stockholm Syndrome because, as you said, the market has spoken. People are happy to pay for it, even though it's not the experience they necessarily want. It's yeah, it is what it is.
Hey, if I want to go back to your point for a minute, you said 5 years. Does this thing go like another 5 years? So with your point, I gotta ask: in another 5 years, does it pass the PS2 in terms of lifetime sales?
It has to.
Yeah, it would have to.
I mean,
if PS2 sales number
155,
160,
155, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna continue that for that duration of the life cycle, then yeah, I would say it's probably gonna pass it. But you have to remember, it's a different time. There's so many more gamers out there that are playing now. It's not the same world that it was. It's just gonna be a natural effect that more people are gaming now. That these records are gonna start to get broken more and more, and we're gonna see, we're gonna naturally see all those lifetime sales numbers be broken. So not a surprise there.
Yeah. I mean, I think it will. I mean, the way it's going right now, I really think that it will. It can get close to like 160 overall, maybe even more than that. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. But like you said, more people playing games now. It's just a different world now. Video games is more commercial as opposed to what it was back then, where people like even like into the 90s, early 2000s, people still depicted it as a toy.
Mhm.
You see it in a toy section if you go to Target or something, or not far from the toy section, which I guess is still the case if you go to some of those stores. But
And they were using PS2 for their DVD drive as their DVD player.
It was a cheap DVD player alternative, I will say that.
And the longer COVID is around, the longer people are going to be playing games and the more people are going to be playing games because they're going to be resided to their homes, more or less, so.
Which is the funny irony again. Switch as a mobile console is what people will be buying when they stay at home.
I don't know about you guys, but I only play my Switch in handheld mode at home too. I never put it in the dock ever.
This has always been
mine always in the dock.
Oh, really?
It's been a fight for me. I've wanted to buy one for ages. I was this close when Dread came out. And whether I get the lights...
You should have bit the bullet, man. I'm telling you, Dread's a great game. You would love Dread, Matt. Based on...
I'm sure I would.
Don't play it. I didn't like it.
Okay.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was excellent.
I got words for that game, but...
That's a debate we can handle later.
I'm sure if I played again, I would probably like it. So ask me again and give me a year to play it one more time.
All right, give it one more chance.
We need the modders to get their hands on that game, change a few of the elements, maybe the EUIs, the little things that race around and chase you. Maybe they can be funny little things. I don't know.
Yeah.
My imagination's running wild right now.
Make them despicable me minions instead. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. Anyway.
All right. So Google Stadia is reportedly going to rebrand, and I'm surprised it just hasn't gone away yet, because the people who worked on it originally just pretty much they all just bounced and went to another company. And like I said, I know we did a show on it, a few years ago, Finance, but I was just disappointed with, what they said it was going to be, and then what it turned out to be. How owning a game that you don't have a physical copy of, that you can only play in the cloud. So I'm just a little I wasn't very impressed with Google Stadia from the get-go, and this doesn't really surprise me. Google's quit on a lot of things. Just what was it, Google Plus? That's the only thing that comes to mind at the moment. But so this doesn't really surprise me. But
dude, there's a whole website dedicated to killed Google platforms, products, applications.
Yeah,
this is not to interrupt, of course, but this is typical Google. They get the clamor of the consumer. You get them demanding what you've tried to sell them. they get to a point where it's developed enough that it works, but they don't do very well selling it in the consumer market. So instead, it looks like they're going to take the Stadia product and license it for people to use as, their game streaming platform or something like that. It's a very typical tech bro move.
Well, I mean,
we can't sell it. You can.
What makes me mad about the whole Google Stadia, as a gamer, back in 2018, 29, whatever year it came out, I forget now, but they had everyone, it was like all eyes on them, man. People were watching their press conference to see what it was, to see what it could do, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, just like, people were watching them and, I wanted to see them do well. I want to see all these companies do well. I think variety is great.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
How many cities in your fair country of the United States of America have Google Fiber rolled out into their cities?
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Is it 3?
I can
Three,
even tell you.
something like
Atlanta
that.
has it. Because that's where I'm at.
Well, what I can tell you is Google Fiber and a lot of places is working well, but it's been a mess a lot of other places.
Yep.
That
it was a mess
another
here when it first rolled out.
Yeah.
That was them in a big move to try and push fiber optic internet, and all of the companies saw the danger. Like Google said, hey, you get some fiber, you get some fiber, you get some fiber, we're all getting fiber. And then they all went, oh shit. AT&T's like, hey, no, stay here. We've got 1,000 megabit, yeah.
Too.
And that's what people have analyzed. Google hitting the gigabit internet market like that has done. They pushed it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since Stadia, we've got cloud gaming with Xbox. We're looking at PlayStation's renewed cloud service with Spartacus potentially. Not sure, question mark. Then we've got the Geforce Now Experience, which I'm sure has been worked on as well.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a cloud gaming environment that has potential, that's looking at growth and rollout. And it looks exactly the same as what they did with Google Fiber. They've pushed the market forward. Now they're taking a step back. And they're like, yeah, this looks good for us now. We'll hang around in the back and we'll do that guy's house over there, but we're not going to do the whole city anymore.
It's just disappointing. I was going to say it's disappointing that they can't, I guess, commit to things. It's like this toxic relationship where they say they're going to do this every single time. We're all ready for it and we fall for it. And then they're like, no, we're just going to slowly sunset this because you guys have the Xbox cloud gaming, you have the GeForce, everything that you just said, Matt. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Xbox cloud gaming is fulfilling the promise that Google Stadia set out to do, and they're doing it incredibly well.
Yeah.
And they, like you said, they set the foundation, but Xbox is clearly beating them at their own game, and they can see the writing at the wall at this point, and they're just like, okay, we'll just let you have it.
And let's be honest, their only solution to I have to purchase a game that not only can I not touch, but I don't actually own and only lives as long as the service. The only solution to that would be to have a Game Pass like service.
Yeah,
and Xbox pipped them to the post. So what else can you do?
It was just like, I just didn't understand it. Like you wait. I was like, what? Because they, like I said, they didn't explain it very well. Like when they presented it, and it's just like you hear about it later. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I'm not dropping $60 on a game on a live service that if it ends, I don't have the downloadable accessibility to, like that. No.
Yeah.
And the funny converse discussion is that a lot of people don't go back and play games, so they probably would have rested on that a little bit, but maybe not so much. Sorry, Finest.
No, you're fine. I just, there's been a couple points I just wanted to bring up in terms of this, but it's, I mean, it makes sense that they're licensing out their tech. I mean, because Google Stadia really helped developers like when COVID did happen, and just really providing them with the tech so they can take their games from the offices and allow them to develop and share their games throughout their companies. So, I mean, Google made a lot of mistakes in launching Stadia. I forget, I'm not sure who said it, but it wasn't Google that like set the foundation. It was Ouya, the Ouya.
Oh yeah,
Remember that?
oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. That thing was garbage. That thing was
Yeah,
trash.
yeah. That Android based box. I actually thought about buying one the other day, but that's a different story. Um, no, but I mean, just like Google very much like didn't understand gamers, and I think very much as a megalomaniac company that they are, they just don't understand a lot of what their consumers want, and just bringing out that service and then having people. There was a lot of confusion around it, just like, oh, you pay for the service and then you got to pay for the games too. They didn't have the games lined up, and then a lot of the stuff that they were bringing were games that you can get on the systems that you already have.
Like
But
Destiny.
yeah, which was big, which is why one of the companies that Google is licensing their tech to is Bungie, which is going to be great because then it goes to Sony, and that it's just going to be this really big partnership. So if Sony is doing Project Spartacus and so forth, this would be a good way of actually branching that out and taking that out, and bringing it to the masses. So there's actually a lot more here than Google just not being Google anymore, or not want to do the Stadia, or not want to support it. But if people did buy it, you can guarantee that, I mean, they would still, it'd be here all in front of us. If people did buy into it and everything, you would see 1,000 games out right now, and
Yeah.
but gamers are loyalists, so
Mhm.
buy Google.
And they
By
like to
Google.
preserve their pennies, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, one more topic, and then we get into our main discussion, and that is Microsoft's acquisition of Activision is being reviewed by the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. And I mean, is anyone really surprised here? I mean, I guess the Microsoft CEO came out the other day saying that this acquisition is going to help them get to the metaverse or something like that. I don't know if you guys read that, but yeah, just I guess some politicians are afraid that this could be a monopoly of some sorts in the gaming industry, and I personally don't think it will be. I mean, I think the deal will go through, but a big deal like this for nearly 70 billion. I mean, that's just a lot of money, and this is all cash. So, with that being said, you would have to say that someone higher up in the U.S. government anyway was going to get involved in reviewing this. So I want to stand by it. I don't think the deal gets blocked. What do you guys think?
Just real quick, I mean, Matt pointed this out the other week. Like,
Mhm.
I think I said the FCC, but I meant the FTC.
FTC. Yeah, I think you did say
Yeah,
FCC.
yeah. On that
Same
episode,
difference.
same
Same difference to
There's a
me,
couple-
anyway. It's your American stuff. I don't even.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Federal
but
Trade Commission. Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was, I thought it was going to be a monopoly, and then Matt very much pointed out why, all the reasons why, because he just listened to I'm pretty sure another podcast that was talking about this, or he's just knowledgeable in general.
Both.
But yeah,
Thanks.
and then I looked into it myself, and then very much like they talked about how it's not going to be a monopoly, like out and all these different aspects of it, and how it's a gaming company. It's maybe you can explain this better than me, Matt, but it's a gaming company buying a gaming company. It's not, like Microsoft consuming like this entire entity that would make it a monopoly. But you can probably explain it better than I can. But yeah, there's no reason why this should be blocked, based on past acquisitions. So we'll see. And like we talked about the other week, also, Tencent and Sony are still both bigger gaming divisions than Microsoft. So, no one's looking at them, but they're buying up people left and right too. So,
Well, that's the thing at odds here that's really weird. Like, to us as gamers, this is huge. Like, two massive companies that develop a ton of games across decades. And well, maybe not Microsoft. Anyway, as you said, Justin, this is definitely something that has to get looked over, because there's policies in place that require some sort of oversight and review to ensure that everything is right. But Microsoft isn't a gaming company, and Xbox games are a subsidiary of Microsoft. And even with this purchase, they're still not one of the top companies in that list. As you said, Tencent and Sony still come out on top. And the other component of this is that it's a vertical aspect for that monopoly. So in terms of if it was a gaming company absorbing another one, like the Take-Two acquisition, and it was like side consuming, like slowly eating away, like a Pac-Man trying to actually, that's a terrible analogy. But anyway, if it was a gaming company absorbing a gaming company, that's when you got a problem, because it means that other gaming companies have been eliminated. But this is very much a vertical absorption where there's still a significant amount of access for other game companies in the industry, and Microsoft isn't a gaming company per se. They have other products. So they're just adding to their portfolio as opposed to, trying to corner the market on it. So while it's going to come out, it's not going to be a monopoly. It's not going to be an antitrust problem. This is just them doing their due diligence. And the shout out for that stuff from last week would have to be Jeff Grubb with GamesBeat, also Giant Bomb. They've been following it closely. And one of the points that he made last week about this is that it would be a big deal if someone from the Justice Department was looking into this alongside the FTC, because that's when you'd know that there's a problem. But if it's just the FTC trying to dot the T's and cross the I's, then, it's just to look it over and, be certain that it's going to be everything above board. And I think it will be.
Yeah, exactly what I said.
That's what I heard too.
I thought you were giving me to explain it again, and it was the context. You said my name a lot in that.
Yeah,
what you said.
I did.
So I figured I should probably talk for a little while. I don't
absolutely.
know.
I was hoping
I don't need
you
a
would
good
jump
excuse.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll get through. And people love the metaverse, right? That won't be a problem.
Of course.
That's what they said.
Yeah, the metaverse. Yeah, the future of video games. And I'm sure we'll be talking more about that throughout the year. All right, so let's talk about, since we're on the subject of gaming companies buying studios, let's talk about another company that bought a studio, and that is Sony acquiring Bungie. Now did this come? Now this did come the same month that Microsoft did its thing, and for that being said, just a lot of people think that this is Sony's response to Microsoft, and it isn't at all. But let's just go over this real quick. They acquired Bungie, who is probably most popular for the games Destiny 2, and the original studio behind Halo. They acquired it for $3.6 billion, and they will reportedly remain an independent subsidiary of Sony Interactive Entertainment. So this doesn't mean that Destiny is going to be going like to just be on the PlayStation platform. No, it's still going to be multi-platform, which is good. And I think all these games should be multi-platform. I don't think it should just be just all the games should stay here. I mean, that's just my thoughts. Pretty much, this is a strategy, a PlayStation strategy to get to a much wider audience, according to PlayStation boss Jim Ryan. And speaking of Jim Ryan, he says that they are not done yet. They plan on acquiring even more studios. Not sure what they are, but I mean, they do got more acquisitions in the works. They're not quite done yet. Who knows when they'll be done? I mean, I haven't heard anything. And then Sony also has 10 live service games in development, and Bungie is going to be behind that. So yeah, this is a lot of stuff, and just at the end of the day, it's not a response to Microsoft's acquisition. I know some people have gone on Twitter and other platforms saying that it is, but can't really compare the two. I mean, even though they're both in the billions, but it's like 3.6 billion to almost 70 billion. That's a big difference, I mean,
I don't know. I would argue that right there. this deal isn't necessarily like in response to what Microsoft has done, but them announcing this deal and
maybe
the
the
timing of the deal. That announcement is very much a response to Microsoft and them buying Activision Blizzard. This deal has been in the works for like 5-6 months though, but the announcement, they could have announced this at any time, prior to Activision Blizzard, but they needed to say something, and this was their response.
Yeah, I second that. They're definitely very, very different deals. Like you said, 70 billion versus 3.6. But at one hand, you have Xbox just acquiring more studios with a plethora of games that everyone loves. You got Diablo, you have World of Warcraft, you got all of those Blizzard games, everything there. It speaks for itself. But Sony's pick is a little bit more strategic than just saying, okay, we're going to acquire this studio, the makers of Destiny. They're trying to leverage Bungie's, what seems like their knowledge that they have of live service games specifically, because with Bungie, they've gotten very, very good at nailing down, okay, how do you make a live service successful? And it pairs well with what Sony is trying to do now, which they're trying to go from only being a single player experience focused brand, PlayStation Studios, which we all know they can make masterful single player games, into, okay, how do we make a live service games? Because we're not good at that at all. We don't know how to do that. We need guidance. So now they have Bungie, which they can use their experience of how to make a battle pass that is actually has great progression, which Destiny 2 has, how to make expansions, and how to make a live service successful. So it's interesting that their clapback was, hey, we're gonna go into making live service games, and we're getting the best of the best who knows how to make the best live service games so that all of ours can be great. And we're committing to 10 games by 2026 of live service games specifically. So I think it's exciting just to see what live service games will look under Sony's reign, because I can imagine it will look extremely different compared to everyone else right now. Like it's not going to be just another Fortnite or another Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's going to look very different, and we're going to get to look at them with franchises that we love, like The Last of Us Factions. Definitely going to be a live service game. What else they got? Ghost of Tsushima, probably the second Legends. The second one is probably going to be a live service game. So pretty exciting.
How about God of War Valhalla, where you play as Odin fighting Thor?
I don't know about that one. Don't know about that one.
Yeah, I mean, this speaks to Sony's strategy. And I think it's kind of funny how Xbox and Sony have like very much are on opposite spectrums now, because Microsoft has always had like the kind of like they have Western RPGs on lock now. They've always been really good at first-person shooters and third-person shooters and things of that nature. And now you see Xbox very much like, it's more of an acquisition sense, but they're branching off into like other genres, and they're acquiring studios that really complete their portfolio and really brings like the audience to that like other side. And then Sony, who's like really good at those single player games, like Alfredo was saying, now they're going into like all these different live service games, and they haven't necessarily been as strong as multiplayer. That's why they made partnerships with Bungie and Call of Duty to really corner that market, and it worked out really well for them. But now Call of Duty's gone. So next step, hey, Bungie, let's solidify this and make this deal to go even further to cover their live service and shooters, because like Alfredo was saying, like they're very much going to rely on Bungie and Bungie's technology. So just imagine like Bungie's has some of the best shooting mechanics across the industry, and just PlayStation being able to use that technology in every shooter that they have going forth, as a baseline to and really utilizing that. And then on what Bungie gets out of this, I mean, Bungie says they're still independent, but they're owned by SIE. So with Sony like creating these 10 live service games, just imagine like the next 10 games that they come out are on all systems. Imagine they're multi-platform.
Even
They're going to get
Nintendo.
money. Yeah, even Nintendo, because those live service games, they're going to be able to pull money from.
Mhm.
You know, and you're not going to want to just keep that on Sony platforms. You're going to be able to pull that money from everywhere. And whether it's on Microsoft or not, like if it's on Game Pass, who cares? People are going to pay for Game Pass, but people are paying you for your content in order to rake in that money. And then having Bungie's knowledge from the last decade and all the mistakes they've made, because Destiny has not been perfect.
Hell no.
By any means. But just being able to source all that knowledge, all those mistakes and everything, and then Bungie, even much is they're going into the movie route, and they have 2 games that they have not really announced yet. But yeah, they're going into movies and TV shows and things like that. And then we have like the Last of Us movie, or the Last of Us show, and then we have just like all these other shows that Sony's working on. So it very much aligns what Bungie wants to do, and we can really see like Destiny movies or Destiny TV shows, and then Sony's going to be making money off of that. Right now we have the Uncharted movie, and it's just completely different strategies. You see Sony really going into the multimedia side of it and all the different aspects, and making PlayStation Studios, proper, like just a full catalog of kind of branded everything. And then we just have like very much Microsoft being like the place to play games wherever you go on any platform. And it's just, I don't know, the dichotomy is kind of insane, and I absolutely love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's
it's
very, very
it's
well
a bit
said.
of it's a market response to all the stuff we're talking about. As both of you said, it being in response to the acquisition means that stock price will be staying level, or it may even be improving for them. Because the last thing that Sony would want is for their gaming division to dip their stock price in response to Microsoft filling the room with this massive acquisition and saying the future of gaming is with us, come and hang out with us because we know what we're doing, #metaverse or whatever. And Sony, but all the stuff that you're saying has come out as information as well, that they intend for their games to be multi-platform when they're service games. That's them cornering the market on everybody to ensure that everyone's got access to these games. And the idea that media properties are easy to create, especially when you've got something like Spider-Man, which is something that Sony already owns as a property, do a handshake with Insomniac, and all of a sudden you've got a game series that's incredibly successful. All that stuff is lending to their favor. I think Sony's onto a good thing here, just as you guys have been saying. But one extra piece of information that came out this week with regards to the Bungie deal that we should talk about, just to add to the credence of what you've all been covering, is that apparently the purchase was for $2.4 billion initially. And there's an incentive period for anyone who stays around for, I think it was a couple of years, with that $1.2 billion slowly being fed to them over that time. So they really want to hang on to the talent that's worked on those service games.
They're paying them extra money so they stick around or something. I was reading that. Oh.
Yeah, because there's no point in buying the studio if no one's there. If everyone dips and it's like, oh, we're going to be controlled by this corporate overlord, the studio is useless. You need to buy the talent along with the technology.
Yeah,
and it shows
one thing that's having the name.
It's great.
Yeah.
And Bungie's look, I would relish the idea of them trying to create a TV show for Destiny instead of sending people online reading grimoire cards or whatever it was to get at that story.
Grimoire cards. Oh my gosh. All that's in game now though. So
yep.
Yeah.
Wait, you can read the cards in game?
No, so they have it's not the cards, but yeah, in the menu they have like all the items have like the story attached to the items that you have. So it's essentially a grimoire card. It's like attached to all the things that you collect within the game, so you can read through that. I forget what it's called because it's been a while since I've been in there.
Too.
Yeah,
I finally dipped into starting playing Destiny actually, so I definitely need to read all those so I can get caught up on what the actual story is. But I will say I started playing their expansion, and the cutscenes are really good. It feels like a Star Wars-ish type of epic level proportions game. It just is. It's a little bit difficult to figure out how to get there, how to get to the campaign, how to get to the story, and what exactly is happening. Like, you got to do your homework.
Yeah,
that's one thing that's incredibly hard to get right. Because I remember doing the same. I didn't jump on Destiny straight away, but I did play the first game. And by the time Destiny 2 had rolled around, and at that stage it was being paid for, so it wasn't free to play at that stage, but still, like, if it's just long enough, you're not quite sure what to click.
Right.
And the Avengers game suffered from that for me too. I got quite excited to jump into it when it came out on Game Pass. Download it, 70 or 80 gigs or whatever. I was like, yes. And then the opening menu started and I had a look at it and I'm like, where's the start
Where
button?
do I go? Right.
What
does begin? And then you press a start button and it's got a bunch of requirements on it when you actually find that initial campaign. And for the first hour, you're running around as the young version of the protagonist in basically a celebration of the Avengers stuff. It's a bit unusual. But look, that's what's going to happen. Onboarding new players is going to be hopefully something they figure out in future.
Yeah.
You can always pay to level.
Pay to level. Also, if they change it again from leveling to having a light level, and then you have something else on top of that, I think someone's going to have a conversation with them and say,
and the new expansion, you can craft your own weapons. So you're going to need like all new materials for that on top of the materials. I remember last time I left, my vault was full, like all over again. It's just, there's still things with the game they need to work out.
And we're going to see that with live services as a whole. Like, live services have not been perfected, of course, exactly like we're talking about. But I think within the next 4 years, which Sony is committing to for live services, we're going to get a damn near perfect live service game.
And I think Bungie, in terms of consoles, is really set the stage for that, because like you guys have alluded to, the Avengers failed, Anthem has failed.
Sorry about Anthem, man.
There's just been quite a few games. I know there's more than that are just like not even entering my head right now. But Bungie is really the only ones on console that have really succeeded, and there's other ones that like on PC and other places that like did well, and then they came to console or kind of tested the market other places and everything. But in terms of what Bungie did, they really set the stage with the PS4. And we've had a lot of imitators that haven't done as well.
Yeah, I mean, say what you want to about Bungie. I mean, they're still doing it with Destiny 2, regardless. I mean, even though I don't play anymore, and I think the popularity of the game has definitely gone down a little bit. I mean, they still have its dedicated fan base, and shout out to the Doing It Live crew, Bravo, Jovan. You know who you guys are. That still play the game day in and day out. I think Finance, you play with Bravo from time to time with Destiny, right?
Every so often, not too often though. But
shout out Bravo.
There's when I was just like looking at the numbers the other day when we were like researching for this show and stuff like that, there was 40,000 concurrent users on Steam. That's just on Steam. Like, and it's all cross progression. Is it cross platform?
Both.
I think it is now. I know in the beginning it wasn't.
Well, it wasn't for a long time. For the longest time, it was cross progression, so you can take your save and play it wherever you want. But cross platform must have came out. It did come out, I guess, later on. But the last time I played it wasn't. So.
Right.
So, what kind of game is on? I know you've mentioned a couple before, but maybe jokingly. What is on your wish list for this? On this list of 10 games they've announced by 2026 to be live service games released on the Sony platform.
Maybe pick me. I got two games real quick.
Alfredo,
take it.
One, Last of Us Factions 2, because I've been waiting for that game forever, and I cannot wait for that game to come out. But the second one that I'm like, this is just me throwing rocks into the well, or throwing pennies into the well. I want an Insomniac Spider-Verse live service game, and I think it has a really potential to happen because we know that Insomniac did already state that they were working on a multiplayer game. So they got Spider-Man property. Sony's trying to do this push for live services game. Make it happen. Either that or I'd be really happy with an X-Men game too, like an actual X-Men live service game where you make a mutant. That'd be great.
I was going to say Insomniac's working on Wolverine, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's why I'm saying maybe X-Men because they're getting all these Marvel properties.
That would be so smart of Sony to really corner that whole Marvel universe market in video games, and then just if you want to play Marvel games, and play Marvel characters, Sony and Disney shake hands, and then like the PlayStation is the place where you get to do that, and you get to stay in that universe and do that.
That would be insane.
Yeah, that would be so big if Disney and Sony did that. So
yeah,
I can see that.
We'll know in less than 4 years.
Yeah.
Does that mean Square Enix is maybe on Sony's dance card next? With
Perhaps.
Kingdom Hearts as a pre-existing Disney relationship?
I don't see it happening only because I know how well. I honestly didn't see the Bungie thing happening, so anything's possible. But
anything's possible this year, based on what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I do really feel though that Square Enix is a special third-party organization that will stay that way because they do RPGs. They're Final Fantasy, and it would be just crazy for PlayStation to say, "Yeah, we own Final Fantasy now." That's just too far for me.
The thing is, like, look at this Bungie deal. This Bungie deal is very much like I don't know if you guys remember, but like I kind of like alluded to this like a couple episodes back with Sony. Like I could very much see Sony not purchasing or acquiring a whole bunch of companies in the traditional sense. They're gonna partner or give companies money and let them remain independent, but the games are exclusively on a Sony platform.
I mean, that's kind of what they're doing now because Final Fantasy 16 is exclusive.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So Final Fantasy 16 is exclusive, and Bungie is still very much a independent studio, and they made that very clear from the get-go. So I can very much see them doing that possibly with Square Enix and being like, hey, we just want you to make games for us. Like, let's figure out like a way for, we'll give you whatever $10 billion or whatever that looks like. And then you will make games with us. We're partners, this is a marriage where we're going to link. You're not going to make games for other consoles unless like it's a discussion between both of us and we let that happen. But I mean, that's what Sony's been doing. That's what they did. All of the PS4, they didn't necessarily acquire studios. They paid studios the money to make the games. And the games exclusively came out to PlayStation, or at least were timed exclusives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just too close. I think I'm too close to Square Enix. I don't want it to happen. I don't want to.
I don't want that to happen either because they make great games for all consoles. Nintendo. PC.
Square Enix games have been primarily Sony exclusives in general. So I mean, it wouldn't be that much of a change. Like you're not really missing anything. They eventually came to Xbox.
Yeah.
But it's always like a day late.
Yeah. It's like Xbox is always the last of the party, it seems like, when it comes to Square Enix. All right. Anything else on this whole acquisition with Sony and Bungie before we go to the release rundown?
I think everybody's said it already. It looks forward to bigger and better things that not only for the games but the acquisitions too. That Sony is the ethical games acquirer in the party, where Microsoft is just trying to fill out the room.
Just next move, Nintendo. Not all right. All right. So so we'll go into the release rundown for the games coming out this week, and it's a pretty big week. So just bear with me. Ollie World coming to just about all the platforms. It's coming out February 8th. Whatever you own currently, it's going to be there. So be on the lookout for that. Sifu coming to the PS5, PS4, and PC February 8th. Action Arcade Wrestling coming to the Switch February 9th. Backbone is coming to the Switch on February 9th. February 10th, we have Crossfire X, which is coming to the Xbox Series XS and Xbox One. It's also going to be available on Games Pass. Edge of Eternity coming to the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, February 10th. Cardboard Kings coming to PC, February 10th. And here we go. The Kingdom Hearts games, 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5, 2.5 Remix, Kingdom Hearts 3, all coming to the Switch, but be warned, it's going to be on their cloud services. So it's not, we talked about this last week, but it's coming. So I gotta say it. And Know by Heart also coming to the PC February 10th, and Lost Ark coming to PC February 11th. All right. Any of these games y'all want to talk about?
Just a quick shout out for Lost Ark. If you're an MMO fan, you need to play this game when it comes out this week. It is incredibly highly anticipated by every MMO fan. It's basically Diablo MMO styled. So yeah, check it out. And it's free to play. So yeah, check it out.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, go take it away, Matt. You're gonna say something? Okay.
I was just gonna say I love me a good homegrown Diablo, farm to table. No developers were hurt in the making of this game.
You're right, I should have gone. My shout out is going to be for Ollie Ollie World. I don't know if you guys have seen the reviews on it. I've been talking about it for the last couple weeks. Original Ollie Ollie World and Ollie Ollie World 2 were some of the best skateboarding games you can get, post Tony Hawk, and even, post Skate. We've been waiting for Skate for a long time also. But just a very much like a rhythm platform skating game. You're going left to right, but Ollie Ollie World takes it to a whole another level. Once again, they have the Adventure Time style of art in this game, layered on top of their classic skateboard mechanics, and it's now a 3D level. So there's a foreground, a middle ground, and a background that you really can utilize within the game. It's so far IGN rated it a 9. It's doing extremely well across Metacritic and just the people reviewing it. It's a really good game, and it seems like it's only gotten better. And it's really like the other ones were very difficult in terms of like 1 and 2. They were pretty difficult. This one doesn't take the difficulty away from the game, but it really is a little more forgiving. So even if you're not like the best at like, just in the mechanics of like handling your controller and really just nailing those button presses and stringing all these things together, the game is relatively forgiving. So you can, even as a novice, you can really get through the entire game and experience the whole game. But if you want to master it, you can really take your time and learn how to master it. And those challenges are there for you. I'm really excited about this game. It sucks that it's coming out right here in February when all these other games are getting ready to come out. But I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to play it as much as I can before all these other games come out.
Before your main game comes out.
Is it $60? How much
no,
is
it's
it?
No, I think
30.
it's it's $30. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 30. So it's a good price. It's not, you don't got to drop 60 on it. No. So
yeah, it's an indie developer that's been making these games. So
nice.
I've heard it's a good one to jump onto if you haven't played any before as well.
Yeah,
I need to pick it
It'll
up.
be the best one. Yeah, if you never played Ollie Ollie World, this is probably the best one to jump into.
Yeah, I'll definitely read some reviews on it, check it out, look at some gameplay, see if it be something I'd be interested in. Any other games?
We can't walk past Sifu.
Yeah, I was about to say if no one's gonna say it.
Yeah. That's if you've got your big list of AAA titles, this is number 2 on the list after Dying Light released last week. And it looks really good, to be honest.
I was hoping to have played it today because it's actually out today for early access if you purchase the digital deluxe version. However, this morning they had basically this whole server issue on PlayStation specifically, so that anybody who purchased it on PlayStation cannot play it. I've been told it's fixed as of like an hour ago. So right after this, that's what I'll be playing.
Nice.
We appreciate your sacrifice.
As of right now for 2022, Ollie Ollie World and Sifu are like the 2 highest rated games. So
There
we're
you
only
go.
And it is only
Get ready
February.
for Elden Ring.
hey, still never.
Elden Ring,
And
Horizon Forbidden West. You
Yep.
know, it's
I'd
all.
rather
it's
be
all
like the
coming.
top game for a month and a half than not be the top game at all.
Very
So.
true. Very
Yeah.
true. We'll take it.
Yeah.
In the sea of games. But I'll probably try Sifu at some point because just the combat looks really interesting and the mechanics.
Apparently, it's
quite
incredibly
interesting too.
hard, which I
Yeah,
love.
well, the Absolver, whatever it was called, was by Slow Clap as well, and that had very interesting kind of hand-to-hand sort of, measured combat simulator style almost, and it does look difficult with the early access that some reviewers seem to get, but I relish the difficulty, much like the Elden Ring and Dark Souls of things.
Same here. Quick shout out in regards to Sifu. Sony did release late last week a Sifu live trailer that is about 10 minutes long, and it is very good if you have not seen it. So if you're a fan of martial arts movies, all of that, or just want like a short, like 10-minute movie that's really well done, definitely watch it.
Cool.
Yeah,
love that.
definitely.
I've got to tell you, I love the Overwatch interstitial content that they made. So if it's anything close to that, then
oh yeah, it definitely is.
Awesome.
I don't want to spoil anything.
No. All right. So with that being out of the way, I mean, for me, just I know this is already on multiple platforms. Action Arcade Wrestling. If any wrestling fans out there, I mean, definitely check it out. It's a pretty good one. And all right, so we get into my favorite part of the show. What are we playing?
No video games, apparently.
No video games.
Yeah,
Nothing.
everyone's fine.
Or we're just so excited we don't want to talk over each other.
Yeah, since no one else will go, I'll start it off. But and I've already been talking about this, but why not talk about it again? Dead Cells. So
Dead Cells.
Yeah, Dead Cells released their new DLC. I'm just really jumping into that game while I wait for all these other games to come out. Like Ollie Ollie World's not out yet, so Dead Cells has just been my mainstay in the game that I'm playing. Yeah, I just can't say enough good things about this game. This is very much like a unexpected platformer, like platform type of game. A roguelike like many others, but just in the terms of like them providing free content and on top of their like free content, just constantly providing content to keep the game fresh it's just been amazing. Yeah,
fresh is right. That guy threw a shark at somebody.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that in the base game.
You can throw sharks now. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so
this is to me, this is the perfect example of not a live service game, but a live growth game. Because as you said, we brought it up a lot, and I bought it when it was before its 1.0 release, and the game it is today is completely different from the game it started out as. But it's still ticking all those boxes. It's doing great. It's so good.
Yeah, if this was it is on Switch. If I bought it on Switch, I bought it on PC, I would be all over this game all the time. But because I have to turn on my PC, I have to, get my controller out, all of the hassle. I still have not
played
the game.
Yeah,
you are a gamer. Talk about
gamer
lazy.
inconveniences.
I need a Steam Deck is what I need.
You can play it on your phone too.
Steam Deck.
You can.
Yeah,
on your phone.
Yeah, you can play. I play it on my phone. So I don't know if it's cross progression, but I do
That's
have
fine. I probably need to start over anyway. I don't know what's going on.
But yeah, if you have like a backbone or something like that, like you can totally play the game on your phone, and it works really well. It looks really good. So yeah, as long as you have a decent phone. I don't know if you're running maybe a iPhone 4 or something. It might not be very good.
Okay. Yeah, I have a pretty good one.
If you have a Snapdragon, you should be in good shape.
Yeah, I played it. Whenever I have played it, whenever I'm not lazy enough to boot up Steam on my PC, I have played it for a long time. Like I played it for like 3 or 4 hours at a time, and I really enjoy it. I just don't want to go through the process of setting everything up.
Okay,
and it's a destiny of things too, right? you're worried if you're away for too long, how much has changed that you have to spend a bit of work trying to catch yourself up to.
Yeah,
Because I've
gotta
got
figure
that.
out these pairs again. What exactly are these secondary weapons? I don't know what's going on.
How long was it till I collect the shark attack?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Where's my
That
shark?
I need
that
that.
game's not like that though. That game you can jump in anytime, and it's just like so much fun.
I don't think it doesn't take that much work, even if you haven't played it in a year. Just turn it on. I mean, if you want to get it for Switch, get it for Switch. I mean, I have it for the Switch. It's great for the Switch, actually. I think it's perfect kind of game you can take with you on the go or play it on your TV, however you want to play it. So, I mean, that definitely, I might check it out one of these days to see what new
Tuto,
content.
what are you playing, bud?
Oh, what am I playing? I am playing Assassin's Creed 2 on the Ezio collection. Throwback. I was actually playing it before we started the podcast. And speaking of which, I will be doing a stream for you viewers next Saturday. I don't know what game I'm going to be doing yet, but I'll be doing a stream right here after we're done with the main podcast. So we'll probably go about an hour or so. But yeah, just Assassin's Creed 2. It's just like Alfredo was saying at the beginning when he was jumping in on me playing. It has changed so much, like with what it is, what it was back then to what it is now. And that's just what I miss about Assassin's Creed. I don't know if it's just the fighting, but I think they really had it right with this game. Not so much if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. They want to try to go into new things. But I think Matt put it on the point last week. They were just pumping them out year after year, and then eventually the quality just goes down more and more you do that. So they kind of had to set the brakes with the reset button. But if you have never played an Assassin's Creed game, I would highly recommend just get the Ezio collection if you have a PS4. I believe it's also on the PS3 if you have that, or Xbox 360,
and
Xbox One, all those.
Wasn't the first Assassin's Creed released on the Switch recently as well?
I'm
pretty sure that came out.
I know
if that's something you want to get onto as well.
I know 3 was recently released, and then actually, let me look at the thing right here, since I got the schedule in front of me. I think the Ezio collection is actually coming out later this month for the Switch on the 17th. Oh,
there you go.
Okay. So there you go. If you have the Switch, you can get this too. So I would highly recommend it.
Is that cloud or is that physical?
No, it's physical.
Okay.
No, I believe it's physical, but it's just the.
You'd hope so.
You would hope that it should be able to run it. If the PS3 could run this game, I mean, because it's just a straight port. It's not remastered or anything. So, I mean, 3 great games, for the price of like what I'm guessing it'd be about $30, maybe a little more expensive since it's Nintendo, but
yeah, probably like 50.
Yeah, but
or 60.
Or 60. I don't think they'd go that far, but I mean, it's a good value. Just go ahead. I mean, and then I guess another game I've been playing. I know I didn't put this in the show notes. I've been fooling around with some of my old wrestling games. I've been playing WWE 2K16 on my PS3, so I've been turning that thing on. It's I'm looking at the upcoming WWE games in 2022, and it's I don't know, man. It's just I'm liking the old generation ones a lot better, but I mean everyone has their preference. We'll see what it's like when it comes out. So just just various games I've been playing. So Alfredo, Matt.
I think we're both wriggling in our seat for the game that Alfredo is about to mention that he's playing.
Oh no, you go first.
Oh, Dying Light 2, obviously.
Dying Light 2.
I didn't know you were playing that. Awesome. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, man. I'm right on it. Sure. Educator's team teaching, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So did buy Dying Light 2 on the day it was released. Loved the first game. It's a big departure for me. Being a puzzle gamer, platformer, previously street racing, zombie fighter isn't really something I would normally go for. But being a Mirror's Edge fan, obviously it kind of gets halfway there. Mm-hmm. But I've got the original Dying Light on multiple consoles. I'll pick it up every so often just to give it a go. And I think Dying Light 2 gets pretty close to that experience, at least the reason that we would go back to the first game again. It's massively improved the parkour mechanics to the point where it does feel a little bit more fluid. And it's a little bit more complicated as well, but traversing that city is just, it's incredibly easy. You feel super powerful. Yeah. And the start of the game, you are missing quite a lot of abilities. It's probably not as generous as the first game with what it actually gives you. But the thing about the progression is that it's a little bit slow as well. Did you find that, Alfredo?
Yeah, I would for sure agree. I think that even the tutorial itself, until you actually get to the city where you can really start your parkour training and climbing up buildings and all that, it takes you about 2 hours before you can even get to that point. So, like Matt already said, yeah, I found the progression pretty slow in terms of how they handle the skill tree and your parkour actual skills that you have to earn. For instance, like your sprint ability, you're kind of always running, but your sprint ability you have to unlock eventually, like in order to L3 click and have a burst of sprint. Like that's something we take for granted having automatically in all kinds of games, but this one you have to earn it. You got to earn a faster climbing speed. Like these are things that you have to spend points on. But I will say that all the activities that they have for you to do in order for you to gain those skill points to upgrade those things are incredibly fun. I'm primarily playing this game in a multiplayer. So I played about probably 3, maybe 4 hours single player by myself. The rest, like 8 hours, I've been playing multiplayer with a good friend of mine. And this game shines in multiplayer. We're just having the most fun, just doing random side events. All progress between the two is carried over, so you don't have to worry about, doing one thing for one person and then hopping to another session and doing it again. It just never gets old. You're constantly unlocking new things, and progressing does feel rewarding when you're actually choosing, okay, do I want to get more climbing speed? Do I want to get running on walls ability? Like you're making what seems to be meaningful choices that you might have gotten pretty easily in the first Dying Light or throughout the story. No, this one you have to really earn it. So this game is awesome. I'm having the best time, and I'm just glad that the bugs that a lot of people said was riddled in like the pre-release copies have been more so fixed, because I haven't really run into any, definitely no game-breaking bugs, and very minor bugs are the only ones I've run into. So I would highly recommend this game.
I've had a couple of funny moments. I think it's got the potential for a bit of Skyrim jank, where once I've fallen in between one of those billboards that sits a little bit further out from a building wall and just been stuck there kind of floating.
Oh, really?
A little bit vibrating. And
I haven't had that issue yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a right place, right time kind of thing. Another thing, like I realize we're very quickly about to end the podcast here, but there was something that I just want to get out there just in case it's just me. But Alfredo, have you found that Aiden, the main protagonist that you're playing as, does he feel quite short?
Oh, I was going to say he sucks.
Look, he's not the best. There's got to be a reason why the voice actor they got for him is very similar to Crane from the original.
Yes.
But a different voice actor, I had to check.
He doesn't seem short, but maybe it's because I'm short, and I think that's the normal height everyone should be. So for me, it's on par.
As a 6'1" individual, I go
5'6".
to... Yeah, so I got
seems right to me.
Perfect. In that case, yeah, it is just me, because I found myself looking under the chin of a lot of these zombies, and I keep having to check whether I'm crouching or not. And then I crouch and I'm going way lower, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know. So I like that that's an inclusive experience. Then.
Exactly. So you gotta walk my shoes, and I'm just enjoying everyone being able to finally see my problems.
Aren't I walking to Warsaw, from Warsaw to somewhere, 500 hours or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Very long way. Anyway, great game. I'm having a good time too. Playing entirely solo, I think co-op would be a great experience. But yeah, Dying Light 2, I recommend it.
Dying Light 2. All right, guys. So you heard it, folks, right here on the Game & Watch podcast. Dying Light 2, new game that came out just last week. Definitely check it out if you're looking for something new to play before the rest of the February gets to us and it gets forgotten. I want to get
trending. By the way, I want to make this hashtag full February.
Full February.
Full February.
All right, I'll put it on my Twitter
Trending on
next
Twitter.
time. All right, I'll put it on my Twitter next time I'm on Twitter. All right. Full February hashtag. All right, that will do it for the Game and Watch podcast for today. This has been episode number 74 for OVG, the Duke of Education, Alfredo, and Matt, the Educator. This is Justin Reed, aka Too Tall for You Fool, saying so long and hashtag Full February.
Hashtag Full February.
Put it in the show notes,
Enjoy your
finest. Later.